Hi, welcome to the Beasts Who Made Us podcast. I'm Cori of Venus and Mars K9. Today I talked to Jess Lara of J9K9 Training. Jess lives near Portland, Oregon and has worked professionally with dogs for over 10 years. In this episode, we discuss working dogs in pet homes, her specialty, her childhood experiences with search and rescue dogs, her learning experiences in the early days of her career, dealing with human emotional regulation while working with dogs, and more. Here's the episode.
In my childhood, I loved animals so much, and we didn't have a lot of animals. We had turtles, red-eared cider turtles, and then when I was 11, I got my own cat. Um, my grandpa was a dog trainer, and he ran a search and rescue team out here in Oregon. And so I spent a lot of time with his working dogs and like with the teams working SAR dogs. But any chance I got to be by an animal, like if I went to a friend's house and they had an animal, I would go spend time with it. I felt deeply connected to animals. I wanted more animals. I dreamed of the day I could have more animals. Um, and I like really believed that I could speak to them and that if I earned their trust enough that they would speak to me. Like I remember being like under a bush with like a cat. It's like telling the cat like your secret's safe with me. You can tell me anything. And I just believed that it would speak to me.
I used to do that too, and it's something I haven't thought about in a long time until you sent me a preview that you were going to talk about that. Do you think for you it had anything to do with the kinds of movies that were coming out when we were a kid? Like I was thinking of Toy Story, and then I was like, I know that this narrative came up with animals somehow in media too, but I couldn't remember a specific movie or show.
Sure. Well, there's so many shows and movies with talking animals. Like the
Right.
characters are animals.
But the idea that
Um,
it's like a secret and that like when we go
oh,
away, they all start just speaking English.
that is really Toy Story specific. That maybe is what planted the seed. I think overall, probably really influenced by every show and movie I was allowed to see as a kid. So maybe this is like universal.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
this is really common.
I definitely did the same thing, and I for sure remember that I had my childhood min pin and I was like, it's okay, I won't tell mom.
Right, it was like definitely a secret to be kept from the adults.
Yes. Yeah, I
Like
was like, please just talk to me. Okay, that's awesome. I wrote down you said, but you don't have any pets now except dogs, but that's not true, right? You told me you have
right?
cats, and now you've got all these farm creatures, right?
Not yet, but I have we're like building for farm creatures, but currently I have chickens. I have 8 silky chickens.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like miniature decorative chickens that are adorable.
I've
Um,
never heard the term decorative chickens before.
I know. I know. I don't know. I think I made it up, but that they're just like beautiful little chickens. Um,
Okay, okay.
yeah, they're like the designer breed chickens.
Oh,
Yeah,
cute. Okay,
yeah,
nice.
I'm really into them.
Do you ever think about getting turtles again?
I do not. No, because I don't think they're happy in a tank, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to dedicate what I think would be the right amount of dedication to like building them a large enough pond,
Mm, mm-hmm.
and maintaining that pond and keeping them safe and all that stuff. Um,
That makes
yeah, I'm
sense.
not as interested in that anymore. I have considered getting some kind of like outdoor tortoise that can live in like an
Mm-hmm.
enclosed garden. Um,
Yeah.
some I've thought about that. I don't know why I would do it, but I love when someone has like 50-year-old tortoise. I think it's so cool.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine the clicker training videos already. I'm curious if you have any specific or interesting feelings or thoughts about like the difference between living with your other animals or your future other animals or past pets that you have had versus dogs.
Oh yeah, this has been on my mind a lot lately because we just got two kittens, and
Mm-hmm.
they're brothers. They were like 3 months old when we got them, and my relationship with them is so different than with any puppy I've had, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just way more relaxed. So
Oh,
yeah, so I just have really different goals for the cats. Like I'm not as invested in how they turn out. Um,
yeah.
and I'm not going to ask as much from them. Like they're going to live here. They get to have a ton of agency. I actually want them to do cat things.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to be little hunters, and I have just been allowing them to do whatever they want. I also got two of them, so they're more probably going to be more bonded to each other than to me. And the thought of that being true for my dogs is like devastating for me. Like if my
Yeah,
dogs were more bonded to each other than me, that's a nightmare. Um,
right.
but for the cats, I'm like, it's like vacation. I'm like, yeah, guys, just play with each other all day long and I'll feed you. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
so I
yeah,
think,
yeah.
yeah, my expectation from them and then my desire and also just need to alter their behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So much of like puppy raising or dog owning is altering that dog's behavior. Like the dogs have really big ideas that are going to be bad ideas for them. And so there's just like so much teaching and managing to help them exist well in your house and in the world. Uh,
Right.
and that's not a responsibility I'm taking on with the cats. So it just feels very relaxed. I've been saying like the joy to stress
Wait,
ratio.
did you just walk away from your computer while you're talking?
Yeah. Oh shoot.
Wait. You can't do that.
My kitten got on the counter. Speaking about not modifying their behavior, I really don't want them on my counters.
Okay, so that's really interesting that it's kind of like the balance of um like dogs. We have this like majestic relationship with dogs where we, can feel so close to them and have this really complex interwoven bond that many of us would say is different and maybe more intense than with other kinds of animals, but then like you're describing that it's also harder to kind of fit them into our world than just getting a cat and being like, you can just run around and do cat things, and I'm almost never going to stop you except when I walk away from the microphone to get you off the counter.
Just the way you describe that is so telling because your description of our relationship with dogs was so poetic. And then when
Oh.
you summed up the cats, you were like, yeah, and then the cats. I call them the cats. Like they're,
The cats.
yeah, like it's
Yeah.
less of a, whereas my dogs, like they have, I would refer to them by name. And so, yeah, I'm internally thinking of them and relating to them very differently.
That's funny. And I have friends who really love cats, and I know that they would not feel the vibe that I just said was accurate. But I don't know if you remember, I am allergic to cats, and so I kind of, as a defense mechanism, say that I don't like them. I don't want to upset anyone. I know that's upsetting, but they make me ill, so I don't like
Yeah.
them.
I am also allergic to cats and I'm allergic to dogs. And
Yeah,
it has drawn me to them intensely, I guess.
the dog. Interesting. Okay. So I would say that your backgrounds with the search and rescue and your grandpa is like the most epic dog trainer backstory, childhood backstory, or one of them. Every time I remember that you do that, I'm just like Jess is kind of a dog trainer to her core, and this story shows that. But I'm curious, did you think about these dogs a lot when you started training professionally? And did you have to unlearn anything or adjust expectations? I'm just wondering, like, how that experience influenced how you felt about dogs when you started working with them
Yeah.
professionally.
Yeah, so it did. I mean, I think I like imprinted on working dogs, I'm pretty sure, as a child. Um,
Mm,
and so I kind of like as soon as I was an adult, I got a dog. And when I was 23, I joined search and rescue again with that dog. Um, so it heavily influenced the way that I see dogs. I think that what I saw growing up was very obedient dogs and very reliable dogs. And
mm-hmm.
so I had this like skewed perception that that's normal. Um, and so when I started working with dogs professionally, I came in with kind of a high expectation. I think I came in with this idea like, well, everybody wants a very obedient, reliable dog, and I can just show them how to achieve that. And then with once I started working with people and actually understanding what people actually want and different like family structures and what's going on in different homes, I did have to change my own expectation for how training was going to go. Um,
Mm, that's really interesting because that's not even about the dogs that you were working with. Like, I was wondering if you were going to say, I was around all of these awesome dogs, and then, I met all of these train wrecks. But it's more
yeah,
about like the standard or what the owners were looking for than the actual difference in the dogs that you were seeing, right?
yes, yeah, totally. I definitely thought dogs were more stable overall as a species
Mm-hmm.
until before I started working with them. Um,
Sure. So a little bit of both. The
yeah, definitely a
client
little bit of both.
expectation and the dogs. Yeah, that makes sense. And I think in terms of like the client expectation, a lot of professional dog trainers have to come to terms with that in general anyway. And some of the bad ones never do come to terms with it. That our standard of dog training is not the same thing as helping people live with their dogs.
Yep, yep.
So that's funny that it all it all comes full circle. it's
It always
it's
does.
the same stuff. Yeah. And now you do this sport club. Is that the right way to refer to it for
Yeah.
the acronym that I don't have memorized and you're gonna have to explain it now?
Sure. You're gonna make me say the word that it's a German word and I don't pronounce it well. So the sport, you can just call it RH, and it's the search and rescue sport. And if you were to say it in German, it's like Rettungshund. And I have
Mhm.
a German friend who I've practiced saying this with many times, and I know I still butchered it. Um,
I'm I'm quick side quest. I'm rereading White Noise by Don DeLillo, and it follows this guy who is a college professor and he teaches like Nazi history. And in the book, he starts taking German lessons in secret because he's embarrassed that he teaches that course and he doesn't know German.
uh,
That's kind of like a different version of you.
Yeah, I'm the president of this club and I cannot say the club name. Uh,
Yeah, you should be like him and start taking German lessons in someone's tiny studio apartment and keeping it a secret from everyone.
right. And then eventually I show up and I like pronounce all the words
Yes.
correctly and my dogs are trained in German and I'm saying it right.
Yeah, exactly. How different is the sport from actual search and rescue? And I'm curious, like, how different does it feel for you to do it than, doing the real search and rescue training that you did? And I'm imagining that you're out there kind of like connecting with the instincts of your dog and being in this like beautiful behavioral harmony together. I'm curious if that's how it actually feels.
That's a really nice image. So it actually kind of feels similar to how I feel about my relationship with dogs versus cats. Like real SAR is very serious,
Hmm.
and you're working with the sheriff's. Typically, at least out here, you're working with the sheriff's association. There's pretty strict standards. There's protocols. There's like you have to keep a training log in case you get called into court. Like it's
There's so much
very
stuff that
law
has,
abiding.
and there's just like so much to think about that's not really related to dog training, it sounds like.
Yep. Yes. So there's a lot of kind of legal protocol stuff. And then it's also like, it's fun to go look for somebody, but it's a very serious situation when it's a lost, when there's actually a lost person. And
Mm-hmm.
so there's just way more gravity to the situation and sensitivity, especially if you're in a role where you're interacting with the families of the lost person. Um,
Yeah, that makes sense.
so yeah, SAR is pretty serious. The training's intense. You train rain or shine. There's middle of the night trainings. There's trainings that are like 24 hours long.
Whoa.
And it's volunteer based. So you're also then like doing fundraisers with the club, you're contributing your own gear, you provide your own dog, of course. So yeah, there's like a seriousness to it. And
Mm-hmm.
that takes a certain personality, and you have to have the right dog. You have to have a very reliable dog, and you need to be ready on call like 24/7. Um,
Mm.
and then, yeah, it's very much a lifestyle. Like when you get into SAR, you get a new vehicle and you might level up your dog and you get really serious about like outdoor gear and radios and GPSs and all that stuff. Um,
Yeah.
So I did that when I was 23 to like 25, and I really enjoyed it. It's something I have thought about getting back into when I can be that committed and serious about something. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but then this sport kind of came along, and one of my dog trainer friends out here said, "Hey, I want to start this sport. Do you want to be part of that?" And then I agreed, and then was sort of happened to become president of this club. And the sport is way less serious. Like it's it's not life or death, and the other one literally is life or death. So
Right.
it's much less serious. It is a game. You can skip training. You can come with whatever dog you have. There are competitors. There's serious competitors who take it much more, who get way competitive about it, and but most, I would say, clubs are going to be more casual.
Mm-hmm.
And like it rained really hard 2 weeks ago, and we canceled training. And I just kind of laughed about that because you would never do that in SAR.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, do all the dogs love it so much? Is it the most fun game in the world for them?
Yeah, totally. So there's three different search disciplines you can choose from. You can do
Mm-hmm.
area search, just like running around in the woods or in a big field looking for a human. And that one, it's not very structured how the dog searches. They can just use their instincts to find a person however they want. And then there's man trailing, which is on a long line and a harness, and that is a mix of tracking and air scenting.
Mm.
Um, and the handler can work with the dog. So the handler and the dog,
Oh.
there's like some line handling, and there's a little bit more room for the handler to have input. And then the tracking is footstep tracking, and it has the same rules as IGP tracking. So it's like that very methodical, like sniff every footprint, find the articles,
Oh,
don't go off track.
I kind of didn't realize that tracking was a part of this at all. I feel like I see you post videos of what is it called? Like the big search.
Area search.
It's not called the
Yeah,
big
the big
search.
search.
The
We can
loose
call it
search.
that.
And yeah, I'm always just like, man, those dogs are just sprinting around having a blast. But that makes sense that there's tracking. And I like that there's one where you can work together, because I'm guessing that's what you would actually do to find a person, right? As opposed to
Mm-hmm.
this stylized, like the dog has to be 100% independent thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. The man trailing is more similar to like what police and SAR people are actually using.
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. Okay. This is something that I'm interested in getting involved in when I have the free time, which is like, who knows when that will happen, because right now I had some free time and I started this podcast. So that was like first on the list. But I want to do it. I think it sounds really fun and cool and like accessible, right?
Yeah, it's pretty accessible. So, because you can just choose one of the scent
Oh yeah,
disciplines.
I was going to ask about
So,
that.
yeah, so you don't have to do all of them. So, area search, like a lot of dogs can do area search. I mean, they need
Mm-hmm.
to be safe off leash, like reliable off leash, and fairly safe with who they might, run into when they're off
Right.
leash.
Right.
Um, the tracking is a little bit more like methodical. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's just IGP tracking, so you need to be pretty thoughtful about like every training session and have
Yeah.
high criteria for the dog. And then there's a obedience and dexterity portion. And
Dexterity.
yeah, so it's like I really like it. So there's obstacles. There's like a tunnel, there's a wobbly bridge, there's a wobbly plank, there's a
Mm.
table. Um, there's there's a directability exercise where you send your dog out to a cone in front of you and then you send them to a table
Ooh.
either to the left or to the right or behind them. Um, so the goal of these exercises is and like precision or control. So it's not speedy like agility. Like on the wobbly bridge, you send the dog up, you walk next to the dog, and then the dog walks in heel on the bridge as
Mm-hmm.
you walk next to them on the ground. Um, so I think that all of those exercises are really practical. Like it's very practical to be able to tell your dog to get up on something, to wait for you,
Right.
wait till the next instruction, and the obstacles are safe, like fairly
Yeah.
safe because their speed is not really like a big priority.
Right. Okay. I'm so interested in this. Can you
Yeah,
spell or like say if someone wants to Google this, what should they Google?
yeah.
You're
Let me
like,
type
can
it
I
out
spell
first.
it?
Yeah, it took me a while to learn how to say it poorly, and then
Yeah, I couldn't tell you what IGP stands for, so no judgment here.
okay, spelling is RETTUNGSHUND. So if
Cool.
you look that up, um, the other good resource is if you Google ARSA, ARSA, which is, I believe, American Rescue Sport Association, ARSA RH, that
Mm-hmm.
comes up, and that's the American like association for the sport, and the other association is under the FCI in Europe, and then here it's
Yeah.
USCA.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Well,
Yeah,
catch me creating this club in 6 to 18 months in Chicago.
you should. It's so the big thing that I like about it is since I've been a dog trainer, I've had more than a handful of clients, well-meaning clients, say, I want to do search and rescue with my dog.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see that they aren't appreciating what that entails and the like level of dog that you need to have to do that kind
Mm-hmm.
of work.
Yeah.
Um, so a lot of people have this desire to do search and rescue because it's super cool and dogs love it, and it's so fulfilling for them, and it's tapping into their talents. Um, but SAR is like really involved in a lifestyle, and so this RH is like a really awesome option for the folks who want to be outside doing fun stuff with their dogs in a structured way, but don't want to dedicate their whole life to it, um, and have kind of like the gravity of like real SAR. Um,
Yeah.
depending on your training
Yeah.
is like, we're training to actually find a missing child, and that's really serious, versus we're
Totally.
training to go trial, and if we pass or fail, it's, I still had a good time with my dog.
We- We're training to find a child that's not missing. Just
Yeah.
just a nice friend in the woods.
Yeah, friend's kid.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, that totally makes sense. I went to some detection seminars by Logan Haas where I did a working dog internship, and some of them had like half search and rescue teams. A lot of them were human remains detection because that, is more interchangeable with like finding birch, find birch
Oh,
oil or
sure. Yeah.
find like flesh. um
Yeah. Like
and
tooth.
it was kind of not like funny, but a lot of people were having all of these problems, and that's where you go to a workshop to problem solve. But with the search and rescue dogs, Mike was like, you should just get a puppy from me. Like that was like, and it which could sound like just some glorified sales funnel, but it wasn't, he was just like, your dog's kind of a nerve bag, and that's the actual problem here. And his solution to that was like, you should probably just start over, which is not what anyone wants to hear. But with the
No,
seriousness of search and rescue, like that's valid sometimes. So yeah, it's not something to just like play around with.
totally. Yeah. And yeah, it really takes a certain type of dog. Um am I embarrassed of it? I mean, I'm embarrassed to say that when I did SAR, I started with my 7-year-old standard poodle.
Yeah, I
And
was gonna ask if that, because I was like, that must have been Sadie.
mhm. Yeah, and she did excellent. Like, we didn't certify because she was too old. But she really was such a stellar dog, and she loved her ball and she loved searching. And I played search games with her the entire time I had her. So it was really easy to transfer that over to um, telling her, like, hey, there's a human out here and they have your ball. So that's really
Hmm.
urgent. You got to go find them. It was all about that. And then this is what I'm embarrassed of. Not the poodle. That was great. I'm
That's what
embarrassed
I
that,
was gonna ask. I was like, you're
no, that
embarrassed
was
to have had a
badass.
poodle.
No, I'm proud to have had a poodle. But I, at 23, said, and as someone who had never certified a SAR dog and had only owned one dog, I said, I'm going to break the stigma that rescue dogs can't do SAR. And
Mm.
I'm going to get a dog off Craigslist and certify it in SAR. And so I did that, and I got this little 6-month-old Laponian herder, and she like she was like so scared and car sick that I had to show up to training like 30 or 40 minutes early and just like let her
Her puke.
like yeah. And I had to
No.
like wait until she would like eat a hot dog before I could go like even think about training her, and then
Oh
still
my
she'd be like, I'd probably
God.
pay for hot dogs for her because I'd like keep offering it, like, come on, you want to train yet? And she's like, I don't want
Yeah.
to train. She was like not socialized, so she's freaked out by dogs. Sometimes she would find people, and if they would praise her like too excitedly, she would kind of like shrink and like try to get away from them. So I'd be
Oh
like, "You have
no.
to reward her, but gently." And everyone's like, okay, like let's get a field lab over here." Like,
Oh no. Oh, okay.
so,
Pause, because
yeah.
this is a perfect segue. Um, Tell me more about Sadie, and I'm interested to hear. So she was your first dog as an adult, and she catalyzed your entrance into the dog training industry.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, so like I said, as a kid, I always wanted more animals. And so I moved in with my grandma and convinced her to let me have a dog, but it needed to not shed. And so I found a standard poodle on Craigslist again, just where I was getting dogs for a few years there. Um,
Wait, where
she
else would
was
you get a
excellent.
dog, I guess?
Yeah, I don't know. When I was 19, this is the
This
only
is
place
just
to
where
go.
you buy stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, well, I can't afford the ones at the pet store, so I think Craigslist has
I can't
cheaper
afford
ones.
the puppy mill dog from the mall, so I'm gonna get a
Yeah,
random dog on Craigslist.
yeah. So I
Yeah.
got really lucky and I got a 3-year-old standard poodle who lived with a single old woman and like traveled in her RV with her and also had done professional training and was, I think, a well bred dog. And so I just got this excellent dog for $150 and she was exceptional. Like I put her into so many situations I would never put a dog in now and she handled all of it really well. Like I took her to parties, I took her to work, I road tripped, I moved multiple times. I snuck her into bars. I did a lot. I did a lot with this dog. She had a really dynamic life.
She was a
Um,
poodle on the town.
she was a poodle on the town.
I
Totally.
think I don't know why, but I think about you bringing Sadie to parties on a regular basis. I kind of have like this cinematic image in my head of you just like pulling up to this like in my head it's kind of like a huge frat party because I think maybe that's just what you see in movies more often and you just take the leash off and she like trots over to someone doing a keg stand and you just like go in a different room.
You're you're not wrong. We have been to that party. um, and her recall cue was "Where's my dog?" So I would just yell that at the party, and it was so functional because then all the drunk young people would like spring to action because they thought I lost my dog. And
Oh
so it
my
was great
God.
because I would get the whole party to like funnel my dog to me. She would come if she could hear me, she would come when I said that. But if she couldn't hear me, like she was outside or she
Hmm.
I would find her like in a cuddle puddle with a bunch of like drunk girls, like, and I'd be like, "Okay, you good? You okay? See you later." Um, but the "Where's my
That's
dog?"
awesome.
Like, I always got her back really quick when I said that. Um,
Okay, this is random, but this kind of makes me think of this conversation that I have with people on a regular basis, which is that Cupid is my son, but Mars is not my daughter. Like, Sadie
I
was
was
not
telling
your
someone that
daughter.
yesterday.
Did I, because of me, or this is something you've independently been talking about?
I've independently been saying that because I have my first male dog right now, and
Yeah,
I he's my son. I don't know what to
yeah.
say.
Cupid is my son, but Mars,
Yeah.
I don't know what she is, but she's for sure not my daughter.
No, God, none of my girls. Sadie, so I was 19 when I got Sadie, and she was a 3-year-old standard poodle. So she was so much more mature than me. And I
Yeah.
would look at her and be like, damn, girl, you have your shit together. And I do not. And she
Yeah,
was so poised and unbothered by everything and
totally.
radically changed my life.
I was totally wondering, like, what vibes did Sadie have that shaped you becoming an adult? Because that's what she was around for, right? Was you becoming an
Hmm.
adult?
Oh yeah, she totally ushered me into adulthood. She was she was very stable and this is I've like doubted this. I've thought like did I make this up? Did I actually just drag around a really stressed out dog everywhere before I
Yeah.
could read dog body language? But
Mhm.
I did get a lot of photos of her, and looking back at photos of her, she always has like a soft face and a closed mouth. And
Mm.
I have a lot of photos of her sleeping in various places. Um,
Mm.
like yeah, just somewhere, a brand new place she'd never been. If I was stationary long enough, she would go to sleep next to me.
Yeah.
I did a lot of like sleeping on couches with her leashed to me, and
Mhm.
and she
Been
was
there.
fine with that. Yeah. Um, so yeah, I felt like she was my, oh, I don't know what word here, but just like she was like my therapy dog. Like she was like my um like stability. Like she was so stable that it helped me
Mhm.
a lot. I also had to be responsible for her.
Mhm.
So during my party years, I think that it actually kind of made me like self limit, like
Mhm.
how hard I'd go, because I always needed to make sure I knew where Sadie was and give her dinner and make sure she was safe. And
Yeah.
so that sense of like being responsible for her was really like a guiding light in my life.
Yeah.
And then I made life choices based on Sadie, like where I
Yeah.
lived, where she had separation anxiety, I think because she lived in an RV with her previous
Mhm.
owner. Um, so she didn't really know how to be alone. And that was totally fine for me because I just decided that I had to take her everywhere. And so I could only um, do things where my dog could come, including
You were
work.
like, I also don't want to be alone, so this is fine.
Yeah, totally. I'm like, this works out great, Sadie.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was like, yeah, super dedicated to staying with me. And a little bit of separation anxiety makes dogs like excellent at parties.
A little bit. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I relate to a lot of what you said about who she was to you at that time too. So were you like doing formal training with her, or did it all feel like instinctual?
Okay, so my grandpa is a dog trainer. Like he's retired now, but
Mm-hmm.
he was a dog trainer my whole life. So I told him that I got a dog, and he's like German Shepherd guy, working line German Shepherds.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like dreading telling him I was getting a standard poodle because I thought he was gonna kind of mock me. And I said, I'm getting a dog tomorrow, or I just got a dog and it's a standard poodle. And he goes, oh, great dogs. I was like,
Yeah, I
oh,
was gonna
fantastic.
say, I feel like for people who are really into training, including like the older generation, like poodles are one of the like real breeds,
Yeah, yeah,
which is
totally.
funny
I know.
now with all the doodles and stuff. But yeah, like they're a working dog.
Yeah. And she had like great drive. I didn't know that at the time, but so I brought her to him, and he's an old school trainer. Like he was training in the 70s and 80s and 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's been developing, and his methods have changed, but he's just a harsher trainer than what you see now. Um,
Yeah, sure.
and so I brought her to him, and he was like, all right, here's how we're going to train her. And he put a choke chain on her, and like, I was so uncomfortable with how he handled her.
Yeah.
And then how he was coaching me to handle her. I just felt like, oh, I can't like, she's not doing anything wrong, and then
How soon did you take her to him after you got her?
probably under a week.
Oh, okay. So you didn't even
Yeah.
necessarily know how perfect she was yet, was why I asked.
No, not, I mean, no. And I didn't have a lot of points of reference, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I remember he like got her on a picnic table, and then said down, and then pulled her leash down and made her like chin hit the table. And I
Hmm.
was like, I'm pretty sure she knows down like just for like a piece of cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what her owner came in with, cheese, when we met her. Um,
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't think she needs that. And like, you know, so then I had a choice to make, like, all right, am I going to train her like this, or what else can I do? Um, so it was a ton of trial and error. It was like a lot of figuring it out on my own and not seeking any kind of professional resources,
Yeah. How were you
which is
figuring it
weird.
out? Like, were you just like experimenting?
I
Like
was,
this, it sounds kind of magical that you actually navigated this at this time by
yeah.
yourself. You didn't go to
I
a trainer. This was pre-Instagram,
right.
pre-Michael Ellis online courses.
Right, right. I would like my grandpa did give me a treat pouch. Um, so I would just like smoke weed and fill up my treat pouch and then take her on really long walks, um, night walks, and like just like decide what she needed to know. Like I also had really high expectations. Like it's outrageous. I would never I don't even know if I
Yeah.
can train a dog to do what I was expecting her to do at the time. But I remember just being like, every time we see a cul-de-sac, I'm going to have her lay down in the center of the cul-de-sac and I'm going to walk all the way to the road and then I'm going to come back and release her. And I like came up with rules like that.
Yeah.
And Sadie had training already. So, and she was very biddable. So she also
Hmm.
just figured it out with me. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I
That
was
is,
I would there's no videos of it. I'm glad because it probably wasn't pretty.
it still sounds impressive to me. Like it sounds like you basically reinvented dog training by yourself. That's
One
what it sounds
method,
like to
wait, I'm
me.
gonna ruin
You-
your image here because one method I was hula hooping at the time a lot. And one method I had, because she pulled really hard, that's one of the reasons she had to be rehomed, is she was pulling this lady's
Mm,
shoulders out of her sockets, literally.
hmm.
Um, And so one method I had was to walk with a hula hoop and just like hold it in front of us so she couldn't.
This is not
So it was
ruining the
blocking
image.
her.
This is not ruining the image. This is all that I ever dreamed of. You you were reinventing dog training. Like,
I was.
nobody does that.
Yeah,
That's
it did not dawn on me to ask
awesome.
for help. Um,
I
because
think
I was
okay,
19. I was like, I could figure out everything myself.
not to be corny or anything, but I feel like this really speaks to your like innate creativity with training too, because the like yeah, I'm not convinced that you understand how crazy this story is. You just figured it out by yourself.
Uh,
I love that. Okay. Um, did you do any tricks or anything with her?
Oh yeah. Yeah, she knew tricks. So I was hula hooping a lot of the time, so she knew to like jump through a hoop. That's easy. She also knew to like if I put a hoop down to stay in it while
Mm-hmm.
I did other stuff. Like I was teaching hula hoop workshops and
Mm-hmm.
making and selling hoops and stuff at markets and festivals. So she would like stay in her little hula hoop and then I
There's
could go do other like work and teach people how to hula hoop in front of her.
in a
Um,
parallel universe, there's like a branded like Jess's hoop dog training. Like you kept revolving everything around the hoop and you just never left that. And you're like,
yeah.
step one, show up to class, leash, cheese, hula hoop. We're gonna train these dogs. It makes
Oh,
sense.
I'm like, I could teach that class.
That's
Um,
yeah, I think actually that would be an awesome workshop. I'm trying to think of more and more
ooh,
classes and workshops that have as much enrichment for the human beyond just the enrichment of training your dog as enrichment for the dog. Like I had a pumpkin carving party where all the dogs were practicing settling, and I'm just like, I'm getting too excited being like, how can we make every single activity in the world a dog training class?
oh my
And
God, I love that.
I think that a joint hula hooping dog training workshop, I might be the only person in the world interested in this, but I don't know. I think it has legs.
I teach a drop-in class called Relationship Goals, and I do have hula hoops in the class. So I do this like
Yes.
circuit of obstacles, and one of them is um, without like me telling you how to do it, both you and the dog go through the hula hoop with a leash on.
I
And
love that.
it's really cool to see how people figure this out and then also figure out like if their dog is afraid of the hula hoop, then
Mm-hmm.
that's your first step. And
Yeah.
the leash gets like wrapped around the hoop and you have to undo
I
it. And
love that. I love
yeah,
that. I love problem solving games in classes in general. That's
I
cool.
think your classes are so clever and I wish I lived close to you because I would be going to all of them.
Not to toot my own horn, but after doing this for a while, I'm like, I want another trainer to do exactly this program so I can take my dogs to it. I want
I think you
because
can
they are
achieve
so
this.
fun.
You
Yeah, they
can,
are so
yeah,
fun.
franchise out your classes or something.
Yeah. Okay, but now tell me about your next dog that you got.
Okay, so Sadie gave me a lot of false confidence.
Yeah.
Um, and she made me think I was an excellent trainer. So at that time, I was doing like trades for dog training. So I had a friend like give me guitar lessons and I trained their dog. And I was boarding my friends' dogs, and which was good. It was good for me to be handling more dogs. But I
Mm-hmm.
just thought, well, if you just do it like me, then you'll have a perfect dog like Sadie. And I did not appreciate um, the genetics Sadie had and the upbringing that she had and
Mm-hmm.
who she was and what she brought to the table.
Yeah.
So I took way too much credit for that. And then once I got my hands on more dogs, I slowly came to understand that I didn't make Sadie. Like Sadie was incredible, mostly all by herself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the next dog I got a dog named Dandelion who is still alive and thriving, and she's 13 and a half. And Dandy was like, I just thought I'll raise her just like Sadie and everything will be fine. So Dandelion um, was in a foster home and they like couldn't wait to give her to me because I think she was so intense and I didn't know what I was getting myself into. Um, and really quickly, I was like stunned that she would bark at people, bark at other dogs, jump on my counters, um, just be very intense with like toys, resource guarding from other dogs. Um,
And you were like, where do I put the hula hoop?
yes. Right. I was, yeah, I'm like, what is going on? Like, why is she doing all this stuff? I remember we had a friend who was like 6'5", just massive guy. And she cornered him in a hallway and I just heard all this barking and I went over there and he's like backed against a corner and Dandy's holding him,
Oh my
like
God.
holding him still. And I was just like, whoa, like this is the
Yeah.
biggest person I've ever seen, and my dog's doing this. So I started first by taking her to parties, and then really quickly realized that that was not okay. Um, so I learned a lot about her, and I did rise to the occasion of Dandy. Like I embraced her energy and her drive and her intensity, and I actually started running. So I would run with her. I started biking her. I would take like run or bike her places and then play fetch with her. Um, so I really leaned into her intensity and enjoyed it and then realized really quickly like what her limitations were. Like hiking her off leash was
Mm-hmm.
not a good idea because she would bark at people. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't have the window down when I went to get gas because she would kind of be out the window like barking at people. All this stuff. But I was never mad at her for this. I liked it. I wanted more of a guard dog. So I kind of said like, okay, I'm going to not have you in these situations that are hard for you, and then you can be my guard dog.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got another dog to do search and rescue with, and that was the Laponian Herder puppy from Craigslist. And that is a Nordic breed. So they are a herder. They are also categorized in the FCI as a livestock guardian, although she's like 38 pounds, or she was. And then they're a Spitz. So she had a lot going on, and she wasn't well socialized. She wasn't even potty trained by the time I got her. So she had a lot of fear issues. She was very independent. She was much less interested in me than my other two dogs. She was very dog reactive. Living in a town was pretty overwhelming for her. And she was kind of like sneaky. Like she would, like all her naughty things were like Dandy's naughty stuff was like big and loud, and Lumi's were like very sneaky. Like she'd be moseying around the yard, and then I wouldn't see her, and it's because she climbed over the fence and left.
Do you feel like there's any two breeds combined together that gives the right impression of Lumi, or like the Laponian herders in general? I'm thinking it's like maybe like a Shiba and some herding dog or something.
Shiba's funny. I always say husky, but Shiba might be.
Shibas are sneaky and kind of
Yeah,
evil sometimes.
yeah. Like
Even just like
Shiba.
the facial expression on Shibas, I can like imagine on Lumi's face.
Totally. Yeah. I wonder how closely related they are, because they look similar, like the black
Right,
tricolored Shibas.
right.
Yeah, maybe like a Shiba and a Corgi, or I like
A
not
corgi.
training her was like border collie like she was
That's what
super
I was
in training
thinking.
sessions,
Yeah.
very snappy, very fixated, or like
And
focused.
and lots of border collies have that kind of like extreme environmental sensitivity too. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
that is a good combo. I wanted to say border collie, but then I was self-conscious about it for some reason.
um she was she's so much more. Yeah, she not border collie in um like as soon as we left the house. She was like,
Mm-hmm.
you're on your own, we're two people, we're independent of each other. um but very herdery with other dogs,
Yeah.
and herdery with kind of like her preferences. Like I think she would collect toys and pile them, or like
Wait,
line them
I've
up,
got something.
that
I've
kind of
got
stuff.
something. I just cooked up something good. Border collie for the treats, Shiba in the streets.
Oh my gosh, I want a sticker of Lumi, like a cartoon sticker of her that says that, or maybe a
Yeah.
shirt. I love that.
I'll be contacting the Laponian herder representatives.
Yeah, they'll love that. Laponian Herder Club of America. Look out.
Yes. um, I'm curious what big training things that you had to do with either of those dogs that you think back to the most often, or just like general lessons from those two that you find yourself thinking about a lot when you're working with client dogs? That might be kind of a huge question, but does anything in particular
Sure.
come to mind?
Yeah, I do, and I actually do think I think about that quite a bit, because I wonder about how mid-20s Jess figured it out with these dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so one was so Dandy. Dandy's really at high energy and has just like a lot of intensity. And so I accepted her for who she was. Um, and it took a little bit of time. Like it was jarring that she was not Sadie, but then I did accept her for who she was, and I arranged the environment to fit her better,
Mm-hmm.
rather than expecting that she's going to turn into a patio dog like Sadie.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, she can wait in the car, or she can wait at home. Um, and then also I met her exercise needs, and I
Mm-hmm.
was pretty committed to doing that. And I think that that's a big one, is that some dogs have actually just very high exercise needs, like hard cardio.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and no amount of like enrichment toys can replace that.
Yeah.
And so I just expanded my normal activities to fit Dandy. So I was like, can you bike with a dog? Oh, cool. Yeah, you can bike with a dog.
If you're
I
brave enough.
If you're brave enough. I also skateboarded with her, which was very brave because I've never been a very good skateboarder. Um,
Wow.
um, so yeah, those would be the two things. Is I accepted her for who she was. Like I started putting her away when we had guests come over, and I didn't have it. It was never a training goal that she would welcome people into my home. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then
I imagine that was a pretty intense perspective shift after having Sadie too. Like I feel like you probably were looking at dogs in general totally differently after that, right?
yeah, I think it did. It really changed like the nature nurture perception that I had. Although I
Yeah.
think I looked back to my grandpa's dogs. So he had the working line German Shepherds, and then
Mm-hmm.
those were his working dogs, and he had one or two at a time. And then he always had a black lab, and like for like 30 years, he's had like a shepherd and a lab,
Mm-hmm.
different ones. And the lab was out when the family came over and met us at
Mm-hmm.
the door, and the shepherd was in the garage.
Hmm. Okay.
So I
Okay.
probably
So you'd
saw
seen it
that as a
before.
kid. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What about the fear stuff? I don't know if you would categorize any of that behavior from Dandy as fear-based, but I'm thinking about Lumi more.
Yeah.
What kinds of lessons did you get there, and what do you use? How do you use that stuff today with the dogs that you work with?
Yeah. Yeah. Lumi and Dandy could not be um, more different. Dandy's really not afraid of anything, except maybe
Yeah,
having her
okay.
nails trimmed. And then Lumi, Lumi was afraid of like the needle on the record player,
Yeah.
the garbage
Oh,
truck on the street. She was afraid of me if I laughed too loud. She would leave the room. Um, it was like the
I
most.
could imagine the face too.
Oh
Just like
yeah,
a
she was just
disappointment in you. Yeah.
so disappointed. Um, yeah, so she was uncomfortable with a lot of things, and I camp a lot. Back then I was camping a lot when I first got her, and so I realized that gunshots in the distance would make her go into flight.
Mm,
Um, and she would go into flight, which was like a mode that I could not connect with her anymore.
mm-hmm.
It was just like about containing my animal
Mm-hmm.
quickly. And then she would also go into like um, pretty intense prey drive where I also could no longer connect with her.
Mm-hmm.
And those were challenging because my other dogs always prioritized me in a way that Lumi did not or could not.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, what I learned from Lumi that I think I really leaned into her strengths. So I did get her for search and rescue. So we did like man trailing together, but we didn't
Mm-hmm.
certify. Um, so I figured out what felt good for her. Like nose work feels good for her. Sniffing, like calm, sniffy walks felt good for her in a way that my other dogs didn't seem to value.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Kind of like a lot of slowing down and processing the environment was really helpful for her.
Yeah.
Um, and then making sure that she had like a safe space. So she always had a kennel her whole life, and I left it open, and she spent a lot of time just in there by herself. Um, I would leave like closet doors open for her to go inside of.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know. She
Is
she came a she came a really long way. Like I was so impressed, and this is something I tell my clients. I tell them we're going to work together for a few months. We're going to make a lot of progress, but I want you to know that if you can keep building your dog, like you can keep building their confidence. And Lumi just gained confidence her entire life, and she died young. She died at 9. And uh she never stopped like growing and developing. It was really quite spectacular to see that we
yeah,
we never plateaued. And she could do things in the later years that she could never have done in her younger years. So
that's
I think that's
awesome.
really helpful to see training, air quotes training, raising, caring for an animal as a really long-term project, and it's never done.
Right.
um, yeah, you can always
Totally.
keep developing and getting better.
Yeah. I like that you talked about what she liked and, like the positive things that you could focus on growing, because it makes me think about how when we as professionals meet, fear cases, we're on a time crunch to learn as much as possible about that dog, so we can start
Mm-hmm.
working productively. Unless you're the kind of consultant that books like 4-hour intakes, which I don't do personally,
Uh-huh.
though I could see the value for it sometimes. But, to a certain extent, we have to focus a lot on the problem areas and like, what are all of these triggers? Like, what are the exact situations that this dog is having these fear responses in? And I think that there can be too much of that, and there can be a downside to even if the goal is to work on eliminating or improving those fear responses. If you spend too much of your like training energy or like whatever, like psychological energy thinking about just
Mm-hmm.
that stuff, you can really mess up. Sometimes you can really accidentally not focus on what the dog really needs to have focused on, which is
Yeah,
that growth. Yeah.
yeah, that's a really good point. It's almost like if you are really focused on their triggers, then you can almost like you highlight that. Like you can make it a thing. You can make it more of a thing
Yeah.
for the dog unintentionally, but you can just make it more of a thing for yourself. Like that's how you
Right.
define this animal.
Yeah. Instead of like, what's this dog about? Most likely this dog has a lot going on beyond just the fear stuff too for
Mm-hmm.
most of these cases. And so, yeah, that's a good reminder to be thinking about that, because it can be really tricky sometimes to create an initial training plan for a fear case just because of all of the complexities involved. And like I said, the time crunch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lumi also really taught me like to accept. Well, Dandy did too, but in a different way. Lumi taught me a lot about the early puppyhood experiences and how valuable they are.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Like we're
And
just,
there's amount of acceptance in that if, the puppyhood phase has passed.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm curious, do you remember having to change your demeanor interacting with Dandy or Lumi compared to how you would interact with Sadie, either in a training context or just in day-to-day life?
Yeah. So Sadie was very balanced emotionally, unless she was having like anxiety from being alone. Um, so she really inspired that in me. Like I don't remember getting too emotional, aggravated, or upset with Sadie's.
Mm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but Dandy like fired me up. Like I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, she would have huge, giant, questionably unsafe behaviors. and it would
Yeah.
just like skyrocket. Like I'd react with her, you know?
Right.
Um, and so there was a lot more intensity in our relationship, and she's much bigger and stronger than Sadie, and she uses her
Mhm.
body in bigger ways. Um, so she brought out probably some ugly stuff in me. Like I
Mhm.
was reactive with her, and I would get mad and offended by what she did. Um, until I learned until we kind of got into a better rhythm with each other. And um so
How
yeah,
did you
Dandy.
switch to thinking about those moments? Like, I'm sure initially when you were being reactive with her, there was some kind of like, how could you be doing this vibe
Yeah.
is what I
Yeah.
would imagine myself being like in
Yeah.
that situation. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you
Yeah.
not stopping? And so the anger that comes with thinking of it like that. So what in I imagine she's not having very many of those moments now, but like if that were to happen,
She is
where does your
still.
head go? Oh, really? You're still having the how could yous with her?
She's actually resting near me in a muzzle
Yeah.
because I have kittens.
Oh,
And she's
did
perfectly muzzle trained. She's comfy, but she's like really good with the kittens until she thinks about grabbing one of them. So, um,
did she get worse with age too? With her
some things have,
elderliness?
like her body can't keep up. She wants more out of life than her body can do, and I think that's leads to some frustration for her.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so in the moment when I was in my early 20s, when I had young Dandy and I would get pretty fired up with her, I still very much believed in dominance theory.
Mm-hmm.
And so I believed that I was right in my reactions. I
Mm-hmm.
think at the time I didn't see anything wrong. Um, and then Lumi came around and I had to be much gentler with Lumi. Like I said, like laughing too
Mm.
loud made her leave the room. Um, I also had just freshly learned about what the clicker training when I first got Lumi. And
Mm-hmm.
so instead of doing these like big multi-mile, you know, outings with Lumi, which is not what she wanted, I would train her behavior, like
Mm-hmm.
clicker train her. So I got a
Yeah.
lot more probably like mechanical with Lumi, and like systematic in my actually training her behaviors rather than just teaching her like how to be my buddy and do stuff with me. Um,
Yeah. So it's almost like Lumi gave you a better um, perspective and techniques for working with Dandy too.
oh yeah, yep. Once I got
That's
Lumi and I
awesome.
learned how to actually train behaviors, then I was like, oh, cool. Dandy could learn this stuff too. Um, so yeah, it was like Lumi was learning tricks really young, like immediately, that Dandy didn't learn until she was older when I got
Yeah.
around to it. Yeah, it totally
Cool.
changed my perception of what training is, like building little behaviors and training them together versus like teaching a dog how to heel and come.
Yeah, totally. So now when Dandy has some kind of outburst, or if any of your dogs do anything that you find negative emotion inducing in yourself, I'm curious, like what goes through your head? What do you tell yourself? And like what is your default reaction in those moments beyond like creating safety however you have to?
Sure. Yeah, the creating safety is a big one. So my whole the lens through which I view dogs is so different now. And my two younger dogs got to experience like this version of me versus the last version that Dandy was raised with. Um, and so with if and I have like um big feelings dogs. Like I have a German Shepherd and a Malinois now, as well as
Mm-hmm.
Dandy. And my partner has a working like cowbred border collie. So we have a type. So they do all do big stuff. Um, and and I just look at it so different now. Like I take a lot more responsibility. So for example, like my youngest dog is a working line German Shepherd, and he just came to me with dog reactivity. And so although it's very genetic and it's not something that I think I created, um, if he has an outburst or even just a looking too much or having big feelings about a dog, I know that my role is to be grounded for him. Like my role is to give him guidance and help him cope in that situation. And I'm never, not never, I mean, I can still get like reactive or triggered or upset or whatever, but I'm good at not taking it out on my dogs anymore. Um, I really hold myself responsible. Like this is my responsibility, to navigate the situation right now, do the least amount of harm right now, and then go back to the drawing board and consider like what went wrong and what skills does he need so we can do that better next time. So I think I'm a lot more, I know that training works and I've seen training through. So I can just look at any kind of like behavior problem or behavior outburst as something that can be fixed. And I just need to um, figure out how to do that. Like it doesn't
Yeah,
feel like hopeless to me. It feels like something that I have a lot of control over.
totally.
Um,
It's like this is like information for me to go back and look at my training plan.
yeah, yeah,
And
totally.
if I can't feel like that's true right now, I know that I just like need a break from the situation until I can think about it that way.
Mhm. Yeah, um I have the skill of management now that I did not have previously.
Mm-hmm.
So I know how to make sure that this big behavior doesn't happen again through management.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't necessarily have to train it right now or have an answer for the training. Um, like Zuri is barking at the cats if he can see them when he's crated. And I am thinking about how to train that, but it's not my biggest priority. So I simply covered his crate with a blanket.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think knowing that there's like management that can make the situation better today is really like a really big stress relief, or really
It's almost like
reassuring.
you know that you don't have to make the difference in that moment every single time.
Hmm.
Certainly, sometimes if you have to like shut the situation down however you can, like yeah, that's gonna stop whatever pattern of behavior was maybe about to spiral. But in general, it's like with the kind of dominance mindset, or what, like even just like a prideful mindset, being like, this moment is defining us, this moment is defining the behavior, versus being like, I I can go back and work on this. Like it's okay. It's okay if this moment wasn't perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. That if you had said that to me like 15 years ago, I would have not known what you were talking about.
You're like, what?
I would have been like, no,
I,
I must correct her right now. Like it's
yeah.
right now is the time. And yeah, now I very much know that I have time and you can try something. You can, go a route for a few weeks. And if you don't like what you're seeing, you can just change and try something else.
Yeah, or even just in that moment. When I first moved back to the city, Cupid saw a cat from behind a fence for the first time in his life, I think. See, it certainly seemed like it was the first time in his life. And I was like, it was the first walk of the day, I think. I was like not caffeinated, or for whatever
Oh,
reason, I remember that I was like out of it in that moment.
yeah,
And I
those are
started
hard.
trying to like work him through that moment, and
Uh-huh.
it was not working.
Uh-huh.
And I felt it not working, and I started to be like, annoyed that the situation wasn't going well, because I know that with so many other dogs, like the exact technique that I was using would have calmed them down potentially.
Mm-hmm.
But he was getting more and more excited because he was more and more realizing what cat is. And I like felt the annoyance growing, and then it just like clicked in my head where I could stop myself and be like, this is not working, and I'm just gonna walk home now. I'm not gonna work through this moment with the cat. I'm giving up and I'm walking home, and we're calling it a wash. And
Uh-huh.
when I started training, I almost never did something like that.
Yeah,
I
I can relate to
never
that.
stopped, never stopped while I was ahead,
You'd still be
because
there with the cat. Like,
it was,
you
yeah.
must accept
I would
that
be
there are
there with the
cats.
cat right now. 4 months later, we'd be following that cat around, just letting my dog build up on it.
Right. I think I relate to that. That's a skill that I've had to develop is the just stop. Just
Just
stop.
stop and
Just
walk
go do
away.
something else. Yeah, like
Yeah.
walk away, put the dog in another room, go inside. Just just don't do this right now.
Yeah, yeah. Especially if you're getting emotional. That's definitely one of the
Hmm.
things that when I have worked at places where I'm mentoring baby trainers, it's like if you feel yourself starting to get emotional, especially if you're working with a client dog, I think, like you put that dog
Hmm.
away immediately
Hmm.
if that's how you feel, because you're not gonna make the right choices most likely if you're starting to get frustrated.
Hmm. Yeah, and dogs can really affect our emotions. Like I think I'm a pretty sensitive person, which might be why I like working with animals. But also, then I feel like I can feel their emotions, and I have to have some good boundaries on like I'm not taking that on, or I'm going to be the grounded one here while you freak
Yeah.
out. And that's definitely a skill that I've had to grow.
Totally. Yes. I relate to that a lot. Do you get those kinds of feelings like frustration or disappointment? Are you prone to getting that in your skill shaping sessions, like in your sporty training sessions, or does that feel a lot less serious to you? Or even like a trick training or something?
Yeah, that's a good question. Less so, I think, but yeah, I can get disappointed or frustrated that it didn't go as I planned.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there's certain things that are I'm more sensitive to than others, like a dog checking out. So
Mm,
Zuri is he's very interested in other dogs. And so if he disengages to think about another dog like that, I have to not take that personal. And I
yeah.
know logically, like I know this is just, it's not personal. It's not our relationship. He still loves me, like um that can really upset me. Although I do take responsibility, then I'm like, okay, what do I need to do? How can I have changed the session? Or, oh, we shouldn't have been trying to train in the yard when the neighbor dogs are outside, or whatever. I take notes so I can do better next time.
Mm-hmm.
But the skills sessions are typically more fun, because not more fun, but I've set them up well.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have a plan on what I'm training and how I'm going to train it. I have my treats ready. I have my setup. We're in a quiet space, or we're in a space where I know the dog can focus. So I think because I've done so much prep for those
Yeah.
sessions, they usually just go better.
That
Um,
makes sense to me. I'm also not surprised to hear that because of how much clicker training history you have and how much you've done that, because I feel like that makes you just better at thinking about the training session in terms of cues and reinforcement, and just very like black and white,
yeah,
non-emotional things.
yeah, yeah. But what can make me what can make me more frustrated, I think, is when it's like physically affecting my body, like when I'm holding a leash. Um,
Mm,
Something like at my day camp this week, one of the girls the next day started her first heat cycle. So we didn't know that. during day camp, and then one of the other dogs was like really trying to hump her. And
Hmm.
so I leashed the humper, and he's like a nice boy. Like he's a sweet young golden retriever. And he was like doing everything to like lunge and grab her. And I was like
Cute.
out in the field. I was like far away. I couldn't put him anywhere. I just had him on leash. And
Yeah.
that was a frustrating walk. Like I was like, okay, well, we're just gonna walk it off till, he isn't fixated on her anymore. Like I'll wait it out. And so I was trying to walk them, and all the other dogs are off leash, and he was just like persistent. This persistence I've never seen out of him before. And then so once I was like done, I mean, he was like lunging me, like it physically was like hard on my body. And
Yeah.
um I was gonna walk him back up to the house, and like that walk, I was just like, oh my, like just get to the house, like we just have to be done here. We
You're doing like deep breathing
yeah.
exercises, walking this horny golden retriever.
And the lab didn't, it's a lab who was in heat, so
Yeah.
she had no sense of like correcting him or moving out of the way or anything. So she's also trying to walk right with me. So I couldn't,
Yeah.
I'm like, you two get away from each other. Um, and yeah, so that challenges me more. Yeah, that will be a challenging situation for me. Like I think I was like flushed and like sweaty, and I like put all
Oh
the dogs
no.
away and like went and had a cup of water.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think dog training definitely forces you, well, unless you're a really bad dog trainer, it forces you to really practice emotional regulation in a lot of different ways.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is kind of the perfect segue. I was gonna say, well, you sent me before we started the dogs that we were going to talk about or the stories, and I noticed that you picked mostly personal dogs or family dogs. And I was wondering if you feel like your personal dogs have shaped you as a dog trainer far more than any client dogs have. Just
Mm,
like their impact.
I would say so. I would
Yeah.
say so because I get to see the full scope of who they are,
Mm-hmm.
and that living with a dog is not just training and behavior modification. There's
Mm-hmm.
so much about the relationship and about their well-being, um and the just the yeah, the quality of their life that is not training. And sometimes I don't get to, like, when I'm working with a client, there's kind of this like hierarchy of like what we focus on, right? Like it's like management, like let's figure out how to make the situation better, like today. And
Mm-hmm.
then training, and then that's going to include like making sure the dog's needs are met. But we sometimes don't, with my most of my clients, we don't get to touch like the other parts of dog ownership, um,
Mm-hmm.
like watching them get old, watching one of your friends or a new partner develop a relationship with your dog, or seeing, like, we're watching one of our dogs and the cats are doing excellent together, and they were like napping near each other. um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, just getting to like witness the full scope of their life outside of
Totally.
strictly trying to, like, what I want to influence. um,
Yeah, I think I
yeah.
feel the same way. I've obviously, I'm sure both of us have had lots of client moments that have been really important
Hmm.
in shaping our education as professional trainers. But in general, the amount of stuff that I've learned from my two dogs, I think, is so nuanced, and yeah, everything else kind of pales in comparison, even though, like I said,
Hmm.
I've for sure learned lots and lots and lots of stuff from clients and client dogs. But yeah, I've learned even more from my own too.
Yeah, there's like a sense too of like, there's ways I'll handle my dogs that I don't coach my clients on. because
Sure.
of the nature of our relationship and the learning history that I know that they have, and like how
Mm-hmm.
well I know their emotional state and their arousal and their motivators and all that. Um,
I think that's also relevant to there are beyond just like handling skills, but there's actually like training techniques that I feel as trainers, especially people who do board and trains or, you know, do a lot of work where they're working with the dog without the owner, there is tons of stuff, maybe even more nuanced than we can operationalize, but there are techniques that we can use that really don't transfer well to clients. And I feel
mhm.
like we figure that out with our personal dogs too. And then, I mean, we also figure out after being baby trainers that some of those techniques are not like maybe you would try to give it to a client and you find out that it doesn't work, but there's stuff
Right.
that, you know, we as like well like very skilled trainers can do that are not really good like instruction techniques because it just won't stick or it doesn't transfer well. I'll give you an easy example, which is that when I'm working with baby puppies or sometimes even just like a mouthy adult or a mouthy teenager, but mostly baby puppies, and they are biting me,
Mhm,
I'll often just like hold them gently, which is not a crazy technique, but I
mhm,
have completely stopped coaching owners to do that because so many of them are like so not capable of it. Just calmly like having your both of your hands, or maybe there's a hand on the collar, and just holding them gently and firmly until they calm down and stop mouthing and totally relax.
mhm.
You know, that's like so basic, but and something that I would
But I could
do.
see it going so wrong.
It's really gone wrong before. That's how I stopped doing it. Like, I'm sure that some of my clients could handle it, but at this point I'm like, I don't teach that technique because you're going to screw it up so bad. Like,
Mhm,
so now I'm just like, you
mhm.
know, put the dog in the crate or whatever, give them some other kind of like timeout where they can calm down, and you know, we have stopped the biting event. But yeah,
Yeah.
like that that's something that I would do all day and all night if I had to with the dog in my care. And, you know, I did with Cupid when he was a baby, but we don't do that with clients anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, and like yeah, there's you have so many years of handling animals. Like you were handling horses as a child. So just having hands on animals and like the exact pressure and the angle that you approach, like all those little
Yeah,
things that you're doing second nature now,
yeah,
um, can I mean, we do have to teach our clients those things, but sometimes the risk outweighs the benefit.
totally. When you're like, yeah, you can't handle this technique.
Right.
You haven't earned this one yet, so I'm going to give
Yeah,
you a baby
you're
version.
yeah.
That's funny. Okay, well, I think we did it. Thank you for talking to me for so long.
Hey, this was awesome. It was great
I
talking to you.
think I think that you were the perfect first interview. This was everything I dreamed of and more.
Aw. The I'm thinking of if you keep the beast that made us. I really like that for Dandy specifically.
Hmm.
Dandy's my beast.
I do feel like I have, yeah, that's interesting. Like you and I have really beast-like dogs.
Yeah.
If we had like cavaliers or something. Oh, I was going to say my first, potentially my first controversial podcast thought. Actually, I almost forgot
Oh, cool.
while I
Throw it
was
in at the
speaking.
end.
Yeah, yeah. Speak for those who listen to the very end, because that's the thing, right? Is that not
Mhm.
everyone podcasts are often unfinished. In terms of just like how trainers learn so much from their own personal dogs. I that is what causes me to, if I see a trainer and I can see that they're training professionally and they've only ever owned like one elderly sweet pit bull, I am gonna judge them for that. Not in like a you shouldn't
Yep.
be allowed to train thing, but like you are just so missing all of the value that comes from living every day with a dog for who example wants to bite people or something. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not that every trainer should have to own every kind of dog to be able to work with them, but it really just is there's infinite amounts of value for understanding like every single little nuance that goes into working with a dog who is more interesting than a couch potato.
I agree with that. I think there's a ton of value of like the boots on the ground, handling and living it. And if you haven't cried over your own dogs fighting, then
Yeah,
you're missing out. Um,
yeah,
yeah, I think there's a
yeah.
lot of
I
value in the trial and error, and I really value like my 20s for
mm-hmm.
like how messy it was and how crazy it was that I kept getting dogs off Craigslist um and like learning hard lessons.
Yeah,
I think there's so much value there, life experience that you you can't get elsewhere. You can't learn it
totally.
anywhere else.
Totally. Yeah, and I would say if you are a baby trainer and you don't want to adopt a Malinois, buy a Malinois, which I think is so valid. You shouldn't have
Yeah.
to have a dog who completely consumes your life. But I just unsolicited advice for potential baby trainer listeners. I would say the next best thing might be going and working in a daycare for a year, a dog daycare and boarding facility. And
Hmm.
I tell people it's going to suck so bad. It's going to be a terrible experience, but
It's
I
gonna
think that you
stink.
need to do it. it's
Yeah.
it's going to
Uh,
be the worst experience of your life, but I also think that you have to.
Yep. You'll get to understand the pet industry from the
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I'm fortunately bypassed that. Um,
yeah. Yeah, you
yeah.
did your time still. But
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
watch some fights break out.
Oh.
Feel feel those primal instincts and then go work with some
Mhm.
dogs.
Yeah, that's good advice. Get your hands on dogs.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
totally. Cool. Okay. Anything you want to plug? Do you want to list your websites, socials, all that good stuff?
Sure. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, more active on Instagram, J9K9. That's letter J, number nine, letter K, number nine, underscore training. And then I have a website, j9k9training.com, and I do offer virtual services as well as in person.
Cool. Sweet. And if someone lives near Portland and wants to join your RH club?
You could reach out to me directly. That would probably be the easiest thing to do. We don't have a website. You could find us on Facebook under Cascade RH Club. And we are taking new members, and it's super fun, and it's a great group of people.
Cool. I think secretly much dog training, if they're hard to get a hold of and you can't find them online, there might be some hidden gold there. So I think that that bodes well for your training club.
When I help people find dogs, like find their next puppy, I tell them that it's a green flag if the breeder's website is extremely hard to navigate and hasn't been updated in 8 years.
It's like neon pink and green and
Yeah.
like it looks like the 90s like AOL font.
Yeah, some of the
Yeah.
links don't work.
Yeah, yeah. You open the pictures page and it's just like 8 question mark image load up. That's a
Yeah.
good breeder. That's a
Yeah,
green
that's where I get my
flag.
dogs. Yeah.
Yeah.